Now going to discuss the difference between banks and NBFC. NBFC means non-banking financial intermediaries. They are financial intermediaries like bank, but like bank. That means they don't fulfill all the features of a bank. So we call them non-banking financial institution or corporation, NBFC. Now what are the differences that exist between banks and NBFC? Number one, I want to discuss the third point first. When we call bank, when it have all the three features, accepting deposit, withdrawing through check is possible. That means if we want to withdraw the deposited amount, we can withdraw by writing checks. Number three, whatever money we deposit with the banks, it uses for the purpose of lending, loan in the economy. But NBFCs, if you see, at least it should not fulfill all the above criterias. Now, if the NBFCs fulfill all the criterias, then we will call it a bank. Why NBFC? But at least if it drops out, if any one of the criteria is not found, maybe it accepts deposit, maybe you can withdraw, but it does not use the money for giving out loan to the investors or those who are in need. It might be also possible that it accepts deposit, gives loan, but you cannot withdraw your money on demand. So, we call NBFC when at least one of the criteria is or feature of a bank is not present. Now going to the next. Now since you know that banks, whatever happens, you can on demand withdraw your money through checks, writing checks. In fact, we use the bank money for payment. For example, I have to pay somebody. Instead of conducting the transaction with the help of money, I am writing a check. So when I am writing a check and giving to the person, and if he drops in his account, then what will happen? The money will directly go from my account to his account. It will be subtracted from mine and added to his account. So writing checks and making payment is also easy because the transaction will occur from bank to bank. I don't need to bother about the cash. So what is happening? Payments are made very easy nowadays. You know that when you buy online, you have net banking. That means directly from bank, money is getting deducted. You don't need ready cash. Similarly, if you want to pay someone through check, you don't need ready cash at hand. If you write a check and give him, the payment can be done from bank to bank. So without your involvement with cash, you can easily pay. So bank's money is also ideal because we can use for conducting transactions, making payment, but the facility is not available through non-banking financial institutions. They don't give us check facility that if I want to make payment from the money which I have with them, it is not possible. For example, suppose I have LIC, I am giving money over there, and suppose I have to make a payment. So I cannot say that I cannot take out money of LIC to make payment because they don't give any kind of check facility that if I give to a person, he can encash it from my LIC account. Whatever money I have deposited from there, he will directly take his portion of payment. So doing payment from money which we have with the non-banking institutions is not possible, which is possible through the bank money. Now, banks, just before this video in maybe part 2 or part 3, I have also discussed that banks, all are commercial banks, they are there for the purpose of earning profit, and commercial bank 1, 2, 3, 4, so ever, whatever exists, they all fall under the controller, which is known as the central bank. They are the head or father of all the bank. Now, it is mandatory for all the commercial banks to keep a part of their money that they earn or the profit that they make. A part should be kept with the father. That means the father of the banking institution, the central bank. So they have to maintain a certain reserves with the central bank. But NBFCs, they don't require such thing to keep with central bank. Why? Because central bank only is the father or controlling body of all the commercial banks, and NBFC does not fall in their purview. So central bank is not father of NBFC. It is only the apex bank or head bank of all the commercial banks. So NBFCs don't require to keep any kind of reserve with central bank. So that is also a difference. Now the last difference is complicated. You will understand it clear when you will be in class 12. But again I am telling you, I will simplify as much as possible for me. Banks, while giving loan, creates multiple expansion of deposit, but such expansion is not possible through NBFC. Now let us for example take banks use the money for giving loan. NBFC also uses the money for giving loan. Now how does bank gives loan? Suppose you go to a bank and you want loan. It will not give you the entire amount without knowing the customer. So what will happen? The bank will tell him, open an account. Open an account means you have to give your customer detailings, everything. And suppose in your name an account is opened. Now if you want loan and if your loan gets sanctioned, then through that account loan has to be given. Now what is happening over here? So that person, suppose Mr. Dasgupta, he needs a loan. He goes to a bank and asks for loan. Without knowing the customer, the bank will not give. So the bank asks him to open an account in that bank. If you don't have an account in that bank, they won't give you loan. And while opening the account, they take the entire details of the customer. So that if the person doesn't return the loan, doesn't pay back the loan, if he turns as a loan waiver, it will be easy to take a hold of him from his details. So an account is opened in the name of Mr. Dasgupta and the bank takes entire detailings. And suppose he wants a loan of 5 lakh. So the bank in the book of accounts, in his account where Mr. Dasgupta account holder is there, the bank lends the money. So it is present in the book of accounts. Now, suppose Mr. Dasgupta after getting the money, after using it, repays back on time. Now, even if he repays back on time, will the account be closed? No. The account of Mr. Dasgupta will be still there with the bank. So, Mr. Dasgupta can have this account, be the account holder for lifetime, and whenever he needs, suppose he wants to deposit cash instead of taking loan, now he wants to deposit cash. He knows that in such bank he already has an account. So instead of opening an account in some other bank, it will be easier for him to deposit the money where he already have an account. So this is basically a business motive, you can say. The banks give loan, help people through creation of deposit. Deposit account is created and the bank lends, transacts through that account. But even after repayment of loan also, the account in that bank for that particular bank stays. So what happens in later future, if the person wants to deposit his amount with the bank, he need to open an account with any other bank. And why will he do that if he already have an account opened in bank which has helped him in time of need? He will definitely go and deposit over there, because he have to bear no formalities, because his knowledge about the customer is already present with the bank. No need to open an account with the use of money, because already an account is opened. So what happens here? The bank, while giving loan, it creates deposit account, and which in future contributes for the profit earning of the bank, because they can receive cash from those accounts. So suppose this bank has opened Mr. Dasgupta or Mr. X's account, and the bank pays loan from this account. Now, after repayment of loan by Mr. X also, this account stays in the name of Mr. X. So if in future, if he has some excess cash he wants to go and store in the bank, he will have to open an account and bear all the formalities. Now why he will do that if he already have an account opened over here? So he can deposit the money. In this way, the bank is also attracting people to save by creating multiple expansion of deposits. Like Mr. X, there is Y, Z, A, B, C, D who are in need of loan, and the bank opens deposit account in the name of everybody. And later on, these deposit account might turn a boon for the bank, and people might save through this account, and the bank will get hold of excess cash which it can use for further loan creation and earn profit. But such deposit account creation, all these things and expansion of deposit is not possible through NBFC because they don't give such facility. They don't. If you have to take loan from NBFC, a bond has to be signed or such things will take place. They will take your knowledge, but they won't open any deposit account, or any such scenario will not arise. Now going to the types of bank. Now first you can see development bank. Now we save the money with the banks, and the bank use it for loan purpose, lending purpose. Now when the lending is done particularly to the industries, okay, so industries, if the bank loans particular to the industries in order to bring out industrial development, and for any economic development or country's development, industry comes the prime or at the very important industry at the important source of a country's development. So development bank's purpose is whatever money is collected through the deposit, it uses for loan, especially to the industries, and it helps the industries to develop and bring an overall economic development. Now there are again different banks name like IDBI, SIDBI. Now you have heard IDBI, it is Industrial Development Bank of India. That means generally it extends loan to the large industrial houses. And you know, for industrial purposes, whatever loan they require is a very huge amount. So if any large industrial house is taking loan for bringing about industrial development, definitely the amount will be huge and it cannot repay then and there. So the loan is also given for long term, for a long time period, and after that the repayment takes place. So development banks generally gives out loan for a long term to the industries in order to bring their development. Why long term? Because industries require huge amount of money whose repayment is not possible then and then within 2-3 years span of time. Now what is SIDBI? Same, but here an addition, small industries development bank of India. So SIDBI was made in order to extend help to the small industries and to make them flourish, and easy loan. Easy loan means banks will definitely make profit from giving loan, but the amount of profit or the rate of interest charged is kept low so that it does not force the small industries not to take loan, so that they can take loan and they can revive their condition and definitely pay back to the development banks, taking some time, and low interest is charged for them. Cooperative banks. Now when we say cooperative means there is a common purpose. So cooperative banks generally were started in village areas where farmers earlier used to take loan from money lenders who charged a very huge interest rate, which made the farmers feel that it's better not to take loan and better not to come with any kind of innovative ideas and bring development of agricultural land, because they will be charged a huge amount of money back. So if the principal amount is 1000 rupees, if they are taking, suppose they have to make an interest of 700, so 1700 is repaid to the money lender. So the extra portion 700 is huge amount, and that's why deterred from taking loan. So earlier, when farmers were exploited in the hands of money lenders, they could not take loan and bring about development in the land, even if they thought of. To buy seeds, to buy land, they couldn't. But cooperative banks developed, suppose they have a common motive. These banks extended loan only to the farmers and to bring about development of agricultural land. So development banks for industries, they give loan, and cooperative banks, whatever money they collect, they use it for loan purpose in order to develop the agricultural land. They give the loan to the farmers, and farmers also cannot pay back such huge amounts, so a very less interest rate is charged. So the bank makes profit, but definitely a small amount of interest is charged. Similarly, land mortgage banks were also for farmers and to bring about agricultural development. Now, these banks, they gave farmers loan to acquire land, because earlier farmers were landless, so they gave loans to buy property, to buy land, and after that the land was kept with the bank as mortgage. When the farmers slowly repaid the money to the bank, and then the property or the papers of the land were given to the farmers. That's why it is known as land mortgage banks. Mortgage means securities. The bank lent the money to the farmers, with which they bought the land and kept it directly under mortgage or with the banks. When they, over a certain period of time, recovered and gave the bank its entire amount of money, then only they will get the total ownership over that land. Then comes exchange bank. Now these exchange banks' purpose is to buy and sell foreign exchange. Suppose, a very easy example I want to give you. Suppose I want to make a trip to USA. But in USA I cannot go with Indian cash, because that doesn't work over there. So I need dollars. So what will I do? I need to convert my money. So I go to this exchange bank, convert my cash from Indian rupee to US dollars. And what they are doing? They are buying the Indian currency and selling the foreign currency to us. And for giving us that benefit, they also take a service charge. Now why they will convert my Indian currency and give me dollar? Because I need. And for giving the service, they need a service charge. That is their profit. Similarly, suppose you are returning from a foreign land and you want to stay in India. So can you work with the foreign currency you have? No. So you go and sell to this exchange bank. They buy the foreign currency and sell you the Indian currency so that you can do all the transactions within the country. So these exchange bank deals with buying and selling of foreign exchange, and for giving you such service they charge a service charge. Then comes finally the most important, commercial banks, which we were talking till now. They accept deposit which you can derive on demand, and they also extend loans to the general public. Now when they give loan, we call credit. They are giving credit. They are giving untimely need of money, fulfilling the untimely need of money. So they are known as creators of credit. That is their main function, creators of credit in economy. And what are commercial central banks role play? Now commercial banks, there are many who are creating credit in the economy. They are giving money to those who are in need, and they are increasing the money supply. But sometimes too much of loan is also not good, because if too much of loan is given, then what can happen? There are several consequences. Number one, money will be too much in supply, over in supply. Now you know that anything which is too over in supply, anything which is available anywhere and everywhere, its valuation decreases, and rare products valuation increases. Similarly, if the banks give too much of loan and money is so easily available, its valuation decreases. Number two, if you know that easy loan is possible, you all will take loan and create demand for all those things which you cannot afford with your income. So what will happen? There will be excess demand in the economy. And number three, again another problem will also come up with excess demand. On the other side, producers should increase their supply. But if they cannot meet the supply, there will be shortage of supply scenario and excess of demand. That will again contradict. The consumers want the commodity, but the producers are unable to sell that much of commodity, bring that much of production in the market. So this demand and supply will be not same, and the equilibrium will be lost. The stability of the economy will be lost. So the central bank is needed to control the supply of money and control the working of the commercial banks, so that whatever credit they create in the economy should be kept a check on. They should create not excessive credit or below than required credit. So commercial banks are creators of credit. They are the one who increases the money supply and influences the money supply. Sometimes if they create more credit, it increases the money supply. If they create less credit, it decreases the money supply. Excess of money supply means people are getting very easy loans. They will demand too many things. Less of money supply means banks are not giving that much of loan, so people cannot keep their demand. They have to defer it for future, and they cannot take loan, and they have to keep their demand pending for future. So a balance is required. Money supply should be optimal, that means correct in the economy. That means creation of credit should be correct by commercial banks. And who controls? The father of all the commercial banks, that is central bank. So central bank regulates the functioning of commercial banks and are known as controller of credit. So who are credit creators? The credit creators are commercial banks, And who are controllers? Generally fathers control the working of the son and daughter, how the son and daughter is living. His entire regulation is done, the control is done by the father. Similarly, commercial banks, whatever it is working, the control or regulation is done by the central bank. So it creates credit, and central bank sees whether the functioning of commercial bank is okay or not, and it controls the credit flow.